Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one, Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God!
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two, on bar.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three, Lamas covered, three-handle family Gradunzel.
Mamma mia!
And now, Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
Number 4, Armbar.
I will never retire!
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I am your host, Greg Unchained. Today's Wednesday, so you know what that means. I am joined by our very own BigBoy Mikey. It's time to talk King of Sports, New Japan Pro Wrestling. We're talking G1 this week. How are you doing, big boy?
Good, buddy. Ready for a big last week.
Yeah. So we've just closed out week 4 of the G1.
Yep.
Are you feeling energized again?
I am. It's exactly how I called it last week, mate. It's that middle part is a bit of a slog, but you get to this side of it, and it's just full on. And we'll get into it, but there has been some fantastic action. Probably, I don't know if it's better or worse than better or on par with last year, but it's just been fantastic. The standards are high again.
Yeah, absolutely. The day I knew that you were excited about it again was the day you posted the article about the 3 remaining in each block. And if anyone hasn't checked that out, thebplus.com. And if you just look for Big Boy Mikey down the bottom there, you'll be able to see all of his posts. And he wrote a nice little piece on the 3 remaining men in each block, which we're going to discuss as we close out the show as well. Let's kick straight into it because we do have 4 nights of action to unload. Everything started with B block on night 12. Let's start with the first match, Tama Tonga versus Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah, it was decent. I know that there's that gripe still out there with the Tama Tonga matches. I see it on Twitter all the time. Tama's on. Let's turn off the TV for now. I know Ishii made this a little bit better. I'm frustrated by the Tama Tonga storyline in this. I don't know. It's just, this one has some great action in this match. I'm not going to lie. This one was actually entertaining, but I'm just so over this firing squad storyline. I don't know. They kind of...
Well, I think that this match was entertaining as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of the storyline, I got something for you that... I don't want to bring it in here. I think we'll bring it in when we get to the predictions. But I've got something for you that I think is going to make all of this worth it.
Okay.
In terms of prediction, or if not prediction, booking the territory, how I would do things. Because when I watch, my mind goes wild. I have a billion story ideas, and so my mind goes wild, and I'm like, what could they be doing here? What could they be doing there? What seeds could be sown, etc. And I think I have a little bit of a theory that I haven't heard anyone else put forth yet. So we'll get to that when we get to the prediction part of the night. But as we said last week, I think that the Tama Tonga matches are actually okay. It's the Bad Luck Fale matches which are terrible. And I've actually taken to just pretty much straight away. I almost tune out when the Bad Luck Fale matches come on, and I just straight away give it a sports board with the rating of fuck 'em.
Yeah.
Right. But Tama Tonga's matches are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Tama saves it with his genuine athleticism. He is he reminds me. I don't want people to go hating me on Twitter for this, whoever does listen to this, but I feel that Tama in ring reminds me of an old school '90s Sting. The way that he moves in the ring.
Oh yeah, actually no, I totally see that.
Not just because he does a Stinger splash.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. But before anyone gets on their high horse either, go back and watch some of the matches, and the guys that you love from yesteryear are not necessarily as great as you think they are.
Right.
At least athletically. Today's wrestlers are far more athletic.
Yeah.
But yes, I think we're in agreement that Tama Tonga could be so great, but the story is kind of constricting him. But I think it's going to pay off in the end, and I think I'm going to be proud to wear my firing squad shirt.
No,
I hope.
Fair enough.
I hope.
Yeah.
So, Juice Robinson versus Sonata. I really enjoyed this match. This was quite pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
It's a good wrestling match.
Yeah, it
you know?
was a good match. Like, Sonata's been on a roll. I was a little bit shocked by the result. Out of all the matches that Juice has lost and won, this is actually one I would have loved to have seen Sonata win, because Sonata maybe going up to the US title would have been something fun. Like, I think it'd be a decent title for him. I know they probably want to keep it to the foreigners, but yeah, I don't know. I was surprised with the result, but yeah, no, it was a decent match.
Right, so you were surprised that Juice got the win?
Yeah, like, compared to the other matches that he's won or lost.
I think at the beginning of the G1, a lot of my predictions were way off, but as I saw sort of how things were going, I'm pretty sure I got everything on this night correct.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah,
So I think I'm getting better at channeling my inner Gato. Then we got Tetsuya Naito versus Toru Yano. This was a fun match. It was a good light comedy in the beginning, and then when it got serious, Naito just took control and took the match easily, which is what you want from. That's a good Toru Yano match, you know?
Yeah, that was fun. It was a really fun match. Like, right result, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. Yano's just. I love Yano. I'm going.
And look, before the G1, there was that article that went around. Tetsuya Naito did an interview with NJPW in 1972. I don't know if you remember. We talked about it briefly. And he said, why is the field so big? Why do we have 20 guys? You know, why is Toru Yano in there? Why not Taichi? You know, stuff like that. And I'm like, just in my mind, he was obviously talking in kayfabe, but Naito, this is why Toru Yano is in there. So you can have a night off, buddy. He's there so that you can have a nice, easy night where you're not killing your body. So
right. And hey, Yano's a legend. Give him one or two last G1s before he moved himself off from the competition side of things.
Who takes his place?
Hopefully not Taichi, because I don't like Taichi. I don't know.
No, well, you need someone who can do that lighthearted comedy stuff,
right,
to break things up. Who takes his place when he does go away?
Yeah, it's an interesting spot. Well, I mean, you might get one or two juniors move up next year. I mean, by this time next year, Will and Marty might both be heavyweights, so who knows?
Yeah, fair call. Oh, that's true. Yeah, Marty. Could you imagine the Gaijin becoming the legend and doing the comedy spots? Because Marty would fill that role really well. His stuff that he's doing on the moment at Being the Elite, where he's trying to become a heavyweight for his match against Okada.
It's fantastic.
And Nick Aldis gave him donuts and was like, "Eat like a man and you'll look like a man." It's so much fun. So much fun. But we're getting carried away.
Yeah.
So Zack Sabre Jr., Kenny Omega.
Fantastic. Very good stuff.
I gave this one a standing O.
Yeah. I mean, not the top tournament match. I mean, it's just... It's what I expected out of these two. Like, it didn't blow my mind. Like, it was standing O, but, like, it wasn't standing double O. It was a standing O, essentially. It's... very good stuff. Like, I mean, how can you go wrong? Kenny is the premier athlete in this entire industry. I was umming and ahhing about 6 months ago whether it was Kenny or Okada that was the best in the world. It's Kenny. Kenny is the best pro wrestler in the world, entertaining in the ring. He's just
right, and Zack Sabre Jr. is the best pure wrestler.
Yeah,
so it's a really good matchup, and ultimately we had Kenny get the win, and it was one of those things where Zach could have won at any time. Like, it was believable that Zach could have won. So it really had you on the edge of your seat, because at this point Kenny hasn't lost a match, and it's like any one of these last three or four could beat him.
Right.
And the question was, will they, and who will it be? So I was really on the edge of my seat with some of the, when Zach would catch him in some of the holds, or when he hit that German suplex and stuff and hooks the other leg, and it's like, how's he going to get out of this? It was brilliant.
Right.
But, it definitely wasn't the best match of the G1, but I thought it was brilliant.
But
then we had...
Yeah,
go.
I was about to say, because I'm glad that it wasn't what I'm going to call a standing double O. Because, yeah, like you said, going into Kota Ibushi versus Hiroki Goto. Oh, God. That was phenomenal.
See, I preferred the Kenny and Zack Sabre Jr. match, but that comes down to just, different people like different things.
Yeah.
So, because I can see why you would say that about this match, and this was a really, really good match, but for me, it didn't hit the levels of Kota and Ishii, which was just a couple of nights before.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I really love this. It just started off hot, and look, on that piece that I did write on the bplus.com, I did physically change my pick to, because of the three guys I believe that are still in it. I believe it is going to be Hiroshi Kenny.
yeah.
But I'm not ruling out Kota still. I still believe Kota. The only thing that sours Kota for me is just the fact that he hasn't signed a full-time contract, and I don't know that hinders him. I don't know if New Japan take that a little bit rough. Like, I don't know. But he has been fantastic in this tournament. I'm not sure if it is his first one. I think it might be his second G1 of all time. But this...
Yeah, I think it's his second.
I think it's second. But this is his standout tournament. He's on another level, Kota.
Right. And so he got the win with the Komagoye, which I love the Komagoye, and it just, it was a really good match. Good back and forth. Again, it was another one of those matches where either guy could have won conceivably, but I think it was pretty much a lock for Kota, though. At this point, we know he's going to be in contention going with Kenny in the last round.
Yeah.
And then we move on to night 13, which was not a bad night from A Block. There were some good matches.
Not as bad as week 3 or week 4. There has been some great matches. We started with Michael Elgin and Bad Luck Fale.
Right, which was another piece of evidence on the pile of Michael Elgin is just a mirror.
Right.
Because this match was just nothing.
Yeah.
So...
I don't know. Like,
fuck him.
Yeah. Like, I love Fale. Like,
we're marked as explicit now on iTunes. I've updated it because we've talked about Bad Luck Fale so much that I couldn't justify not being marked as explicit anymore. So I've updated it. So go crazy.
Fuck yeah. I don't know. Look, for me with Bad Luck Fale, I really love Bad Luck Fale. Like, I got to meet the guy in January. He's a really good guy, and he loves the business, and he's the one that brought New Japan down to Australia.
Yeah.
And I love that his mind's in the business and whatnot. He's one of the original Bullet Club guys, and it's got so much history there, but it's just, he's not a singles match guy. I don't mind him being that, the third piece in a 6-man match or that sort of stuff where his role is kind of important when you get, say, like Tama and Tanger.
Yeah, when he's the heater.
Yeah, he's a heater. And I could not get into him one-on-one. And that's not saying I don't like big guys, because I prefer big guys over anything. Like, I love Braun. I love guys like Caveman, Jonah, Walter. It's just, I don't enjoy Fale one-on-one matches. And this tournament...
and that's fair. That's fair.
This tournament has just really showed that. I just kind of, in my opinion...
I've only ever watched highlights of G1s in the past, and so I think it was maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly which year it was, but he had a G1 match with Okada that was really good. And So he can have really good one-on-one matches. But yeah, when you're watching him night after night after night, like we have been doing, it kind of sours you on it.
Especially when you know the storyline's a bit rough too, because...
Yeah. I think you're going to like what I have. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Togi Makabe versus Hangman Page. And with this, Page gets a real win.
He does. He gets the book on how to win.
Right, he got that on Being the Elite from Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega you mentioned it last week briefly, he was reading the book on how to win.
Yeah.
And now Page has the book.
Correct. And it was a very cool, it was a quick finish to a good match. Like, it was a good match. It was fun. Makabe.
Yeah, and then Buckshot Lariat, Rite of Passage. It came out of nowhere almost.
Right. I have a feeling this is going to be Makabe's last G1. New Japan will always have a legend in there, so maybe next year they sort of put, if Tenzin's back from injury or something like that, they put him in. I don't know. I think this is Makabe's last tournament. He's been a little bit... He came out strong in the first two matches. I was like, oh, hang on. Makabe's really awesome in this, but he's fallen a little bit flat, and I think if I was Gato, I'd probably not put him back in next year. Like, I know you need, unfortunately, some fodder to, you need one or two of those Makabe, Yano type names in the tournament to, like you said, with the NATO, what NATO was talking about.
Yeah.
But, Makabe's fallen flat in this tournament for me. I think you need to bring in a different type of legend next year.
Right. But I'm really happy that Page finally got a real win. I was moaning about that last week, and it's really good that that's happened. Now, moving on, we had Yoshihashi versus Jay White.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was good.
I wrote that this was a good match, but they were probably only going at about 75%.
Yeah, absolutely they were. I'll tell you what, this is actually so. When I saw the G1 listings and I saw Yoshihashi in there, like, God, he's again just one of those Yano sort of pieces. He's actually I'm actually kind of a Yoshihashi fan at the moment. Like, I'm actually enjoying him in ring. He's actually better than I thought.
Yeah, he's had a couple of really good matches this G1. Yeah. I think as well, for me, is something that's standing out a lot because we're watching so much of this, right? Like, it's 4 nights a week and it's 3 hours a night. But then I was watching Raw today, and Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin in the opener of Raw, and they pretty much held a chin lock for 10 minutes. And I was just like, I know that that's a Raw match and whatever, what have you, but it's just crazy to think that, like, we've been crapping on A-Block a little, right? But even Bad Luck Fale versus Michael Elgin, in terms of actual match quality and even storytelling, like protecting of finishes and all that sort of stuff, even Michael Elgin versus Bad Luck Fale was better than watching Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin hold a chin lock for 10 minutes. Right. So as bad as it sounds when we talk about A-Block and we're like, 75%, like, it wasn't great. Like, this is still the best wrestling in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Hands down. Hands down.
I just think it's important to say that, like, to put that out there, because so that it's not like, so that anyone listening, it's not, because I feel bad talking about A-Block this way. So then we had Evil versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. This match was really, really good. This is probably actually one of the best A-Block matches this year.
Yeah, I agree. I really love this match, and not just because I love both guys. I'm a big Evil fan, and big Evil. No, I'm not an Undertaker fan. No.
Not Booger Red.
I hated Big Evil. Anyway, just a sidetrack there. Yeah, no, look.
We both picked Evil going into this match.
We did, and I thought this was going to be the one that...
And we were both wrong.
We were, because, Tanahashi is Sinahashi, and it's... he doesn't lose.
Tana wins, lol.
He doesn't lose often, even in tournament play.
Yeah, so he hit the high fly flow. He only had to hit one high fly flow.
He did. He was a smart, wily veteran who used the knee to his advantage. Evil's injured knee.
Yeah, it was a good match. Then we moved on to Kazuchika Okada versus Minoru Suzuki. And for me, this one was probably about equal with the match that came just before. It was a really good match. You expect this match to be a good match from these two guys.
Yeah, I agree. It was a fantastic match. Probably not as good as the one from the past. I want to say New Beginning 2017, but I can't quote me on that. But yeah, these two are just masters of what they do.
Yeah, I recently watched their match in the rain when I was editing one of our podcasts.
I thought that was recent. Oh,
yeah, I watched their match in the rain, and it was better than this one. I don't know if that's just because of the optics of like how epic it was for them to have this half-hour match in the rain, but having watched that probably a week and a half ago, this match was, like I said, it was a really good match, but it just wasn't the match that they could have. And you expect that sometimes. You're not going to go out there and put on the best match every time. So the thing that did get me though was the laughing during the striking when they were and even Okada laughed, and it was like, oh man, that's scary when Okada's laughing at that.
Like if you are a New Japan fan and you don't like Suzuki, I don't want to know you. Suzuki is the most entertaining man in the whole company, just with his facials alone. Like,
oh yeah, man gives good face.
He does, and in a week where they call Gotch Week because it was his birthday one day and the anniversary of his passing. I think it's in the same week. Don't quote me on that, but Gotch is obviously someone that's very important to Minoru Suzuki, as someone that's trained him, and as someone that passed down his Gotch-style pie driver to him. Yeah, he's just...
Right, and we're talking Carl Gotch, not Simon Gotch, for anyone.
Yeah, and Simon Gotch is...
Not the vaudeville.
No, and Simon Gotch had no relation, just in case.
No relation, Simon Gotch.
WWE just probably wanted to use that name Gotch again and thought that...
It was a bit of a throwback. Well, he was a throwback character, right?
Yeah.
So, night 14... we have Sonata and Toriano.
Yeah.
Fun match.
Yeah, it was.
Just this was the one. So this match was actually probably the most fun match of the G1. I've said that a few times, and it's always involving Toriano. That's not a coincidence. But this one, the story they told of basically trying to get the count out. Both men wanted an easy night, so they're both trying to get the count out. Yano taped Sonata to the railing, and Sonata just brought the railing with him into the ring.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant. And then
that was clever.
And then he had his feet tied together at one point and had to hop to the ring, and then it ended with the Paradise Lock on the railing. But Rocky got involved too.
Yeah, and even Rocky's involvement was nice and entertaining.
Yeah, well, you know what? I tweeted that out too. It could be the highlight of the G1 for me, was just as the crowd shots. After the match they do the crowd shots and stuff, and the wrestlers are leaving, and you can still just hear, because Rocky got put in the Paradise Lock, and you just hear Rocky just being like, "Help! Someone get Milano! He's the only one with the key." So Rocky got put in the Paradise Lock, and so did Yano. Yano got put in the Paradise Lock on the barricade because Rocky was trying to help his good friend Yano. It was a really fun... watch this match. You're going to hear, everyone who does a G1 podcast, or even us, we're going to tell you, go watch Tomohiro Ishii versus Kenny Omega. We're going to tell you, go watch Ishii versus Ibushi, etc., etc. Watch this match. Watch Toriano versus Sonata. It was probably my most fun match of the tournament.
I agree. Yeah, it was so entertaining.
It's one of those things where I'm really happy with our rating system, because you wouldn't really feel comfortable giving this match 5 stars, right?
Oh, no.
But because it wasn't a technical masterpiece, but they did tell a fantastic story and they were highly entertaining. And so I'm more than comfortable giving it a B+.
Right.
It almost broke the scale. I was laughing so hard, I'd almost give it a B++, So I really loved it. Can't sing the praises enough. And again, it speaks to Sonata being a real breakout star.
Yeah. Both him and Evil, they're both breakout through this.
Yeah, but going into the G1, we were both saying Evil's going to be a breakout star. Watch Evil, right? And watch Hangman Page. He was another one we were both saying. But Sonata, neither of us expected this, but both of us have become big Sonata fans throughout this tournament.
Sure have.
So it's fantastic to watch. So moving on, Tama Tonga versus Hiroki Goto. Sports board, fuck 'em.
Yep. Sports board, fuck 'em. Another Red Shoes classic. Just, yeah.
Yeah, they're almost, like you said in week 2, they're almost just feuding with Red Shoes at this point.
Exactly. Not much more to say about the match.
We did get Red Shoes flipping them off again and giving the DQ win to Goto. So then we move on to Juice Robinson and Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, this is a good match.
Once again, a good wrestling match.
Exactly. The crowd are really into Juice.
Yeah.
He's got some great energy with that crowd.
Yeah, and it was just like we said, Zack targets the hand because, of course, he's going to target the hand. And was this the match, or was it? I think it was in both of his matches this week. He ended up taking the cast off and using it, right? Because he's not allowed to use that left hand because he has the cast, so it's considered a weapon. So in both of these matches, he's been hurt, and then he takes the cast off and uses it anyway. Why not just go into the match without the cast? That's my only problem with Juice.
Yeah.
If you're going to take it off, you may as well just go in with it off.
Exactly. Yeah, that part's a little bit frustrating me. But, yeah, I love that there's a storyline about a cast. Like Juice's whole tournament has been about that hand and that cast in his hand.
Well, not just that, but he was also losing a lot.
Right.
And in the middle of the tournament was like, if I don't start winning, then I don't deserve to be here. So he's told multiple stories throughout the tournament. And yeah, Juice is a star.
Absolutely.
Tomohiro Ishii versus Kenny Omega. This has to be up there as candidate for match of the tournament.
Yep. And another shocker in a sucker.
Yeah, so Ishii gets the win. I don't think it was that shocking, but, whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, look, for the points table, I guess it had to happen, because if Kenny won, then I'm pretty sure there was kind of no point for the rest of Block A, I think. But, I don't know.
Block B.
Sorry, Block B, but yeah, like, what a match, though. Just phenomenal. This is B+++++.
It's Kenny getting busted open at the end there too, just blood dripping from his
lip, basically hanging off his face.
It's a good visual.
It's just fantastic. And Ishii, it frustrates me that the points on the ladder for Ishii does not reflect the tournament that he's had. Like, they make it sort of look like he's in the middle of the pack and all that, but he's been, in my opinion, other than the three, main guys in Block B, he's the MVP. He has had a hell of a tournament, Ishii.
Yeah. No, as far as I'm concerned, he is the MVP. He's been in almost every match of the night that I've considered match of the night. Like, he's had a fantastic tournament. And I understand what you're saying, but he really is a kind of upper middle of the pack guy. He's not considered, like, I'm sure everyone, much like Suzuki, everyone loves him, right? Like in Japan, and respects him, but he's not Tanahashi. He's not Naito. He doesn't have that extra thing.
No, that's right.
Whatever it is, which is unfortunate, because I could see, I love this. One of the first guys I was attracted to when I tuned into New Japan, I've said this before, was the Stone Pitbull. He was one of the first guys. I think he was the Never champion when I first tuned in.
Oh, yeah.
And he and Goto and I can't remember who else, but they were having like a little bit of a 3-way feud over the Never title. And yeah, straight away I fell in love with the style. And I don't think it's one of those things, much like Suzuki. I don't think you could find a fan of New Japan that's not a fan of Ishii.
Right.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Ishii. Like, I've always liked Ishii. Through videos I've always watched, I've always liked Ishii, but I really fell in love with him at the Sydney tour, actually, where he faced Gino Gambino.
That would have been a great match.
Gino's kind of like half Yano, half Fale. Like, he's got that, that asshole sort of side to him, but he's also got the comedy side to him. And but Ishii it was a great match, and I remember going home that night going, actually, that was one of the standout matches for me, and I was like, I really like Ishii. I really want to watch more of him. And he's just a solid he's a solid guy for New Japan. Like you said, he's not top of the card guy, and I don't know if he ever will. He's kind of like, what's a comparison in WWE?
It'd be nice to see him get one
Right.
run.
It's sort of could be sort of like the Goldust in WWE kind of thing. Like where he's just anytime you get him on screen, he's a solid, entertaining guy. Just probably,
But you can't buy him with the world title.
right. You know what?
Yeah.
Even though I'd give anything to see Goldust win a title before his retirement. But anyway.
Just quickly, you mentioning the Australian tour had me thinking, and I think, you talk about a legend to put into the G1, like have Marco be out and put a legend in. Yuji Nagata. He's someone I want to see in there again because I really loved watching him when he came down for the tour earlier this year.
Yuji's awesome.
Yeah. Tetsuya Naito versus Kota Ibushi was next, and and at the end of the day, we got Komagoye with the win, and that kind of rules Naito out. Like it doesn't rule him out, but it's pretty clear at this point the story they're telling. I think.
Yeah. So I think we're done with Block B for the week. We've just got another Block A show to review
for the week. Yeah.
So I talk about it more in depth in my post on thebplus.com. However, yes, so for Tetsuya Naito to be able to win the B block, Kenny and Kota both have to lose Wednesday night. Then they need to draw, and he needs to win on Saturday.
Yeah, so essentially, for Naito to have a chance at winning, Yano has to beat Omega.
Right.
That's the only way Naito gets to the final, is if Yano beats Omega. And then other stuff still needs to happen. It's not going to happen. Naito's out, as far as I can tell. But he had a good tournament. He had some really good matches. This was one of those really good matches. But I think it's right. I think Naito's time has sort of passed already, and they kind of missed the boat a little bit. But it'll come back around.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what he has for the rest of the year. It's Jericho. And so whether he has,
I could see them waiting for Wrestle Kingdom to do that rematch.
Correct. So despite him having the worst mathematical chance out of the three, he did come out and state that if he was to win the G1, he would actually cash it in on the Intercontinental and take on Jericho, which would give...
Did he really?
He did, and which would be the main event that he desperately wants at Kingdom. He's yet to have the main event, because the year that he did win the G1 and go to Kingdom for the championship was the year that Shinsuke and Tanahashi got voted by the fans to main event for the IC title. So I didn't even know that he'd said that. But if he said that, then that would have told me from the very beginning he's not winning the G1, because I don't think they're going to do that. I think the G1 winner has to go for the world title. So definitely, I think his path goes through Jericho. Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas Kota Ibushi's path or Kenny Omega's path obviously goes through the G1.
Quick note about the match, because we kind of didn't get we kind of got a little bit sidetracked. Sorry about that. About the match, fantastic match, by the way.
That's
Both
right.
guys just pulled out all the stops in this match. If Kenny and Ishii wasn't on this card, this is match of the week, or even match of the night. But unfortunately,
on any other night. Yeah. On any other night. So we'll talk about another night then. Night 15, the last night for this week of A Block. We had Yoshihashi defeat Bad Luck Fale by
DQ.
Disqualification.
Yep.
Fuck 'em.
Not much else to say.
It has gotten ridiculous at this point. Like, it's been every match now.
Either DQ
every match
wins by it's just
shenanigans. Yeah.
So let's just move straight on.
Hangman Page and Minoru Suzuki. This to me is the shocker in a saga.
Yeah, right.
Hangman Page got a win over Minoru Suzuki. Let's just talk about that. Like that shows the faith that New Japan have in Hangman Page. Like we said going in, that he's going to have a stellar G1, and this is what that looks like for him. His points don't look like it, and that's fine. But what it looks like is the story he's told of losing. Boom, pick up a win against Goto. That's a big win. Still kind of a middle of the pack guy. Boom, win against Minoru Suzuki. This tells us that Hangman Page in New Japan canon, in New Japan lore, can hang with the big boys.
Exactly right.
Disagree?
Yeah,
Agree?
No, I agree. Because
yeah, I'm excited.
we talked about this a few times over the last couple of weeks. We know that there's a very high chance that New Japan can lose Kenny. As much as I love Young Bucks, New Japan losing the Young Bucks isn't a big deal because the tag scene isn't exactly New Japan's major focus. Like, they do love it. Like, they do a whole G1 tournament just for a tag league, But but there's a chance that New Japan lose all three very popular American superstars and Canadians, and they know that
North American, it counts.
They need to be ready for that. And yes, they got guys like Jay White, Kiwi, but still, anyway. Jay White, they got Juice, but I think Page is going to be there. I don't think Page is going to be on WWE's radar straight away. Like, he'll be there one day.
Yeah, which is a shame because, dude, Kid is a star. He's a star.
Yeah.
And I love Hangman Page. I'm a huge Hangman Page fan. And I think, we've said for a while now, he's going to be the next big gaijin. Him and Jay White and Juice.
Ospreay,
there's actually a lot of really good gaijin.
Yeah, definitely. And like Ospreay will move up to the heavyweights. Marty will probably move up to the heavyweights. So I think Marty and Page will be the two guys to sort of stay back whilst the boys do move to WWE.
And you know what sucks? Looking at all that, who's getting completely lost in the conversation? My boy Zack Sabre Jr. He's the issue.
Sorry, yes.
He's the issue. He's the guy who doesn't have the the extra thing that's going to put him over the edge and give him a world run. I still believe it. It makes me sad.
Yeah. But going back to Page, the original point is, I think Page is, he's got charisma. He does. He's probably got more charisma than Kenny, kind of thing. Like, Kenny's kind of a bit of a. I love Kenny.
Oh, that's a big call.
I love
Kenny's got. He's got a different kind of charisma because he's that real anime video game character, like we talked about last week.
But Page is just, he's another whole kettlefish. I think he's just, I don't know, he's got the looks too, like, not being.
Yeah, it's another one of those things. If people aren't watching Being the Elite, they should be, because Hangman Page doesn't show off everything. He shows off everything he can in the ring, like with his facials and everything. But in terms of, he doesn't show off much in promo wise or anything. But if you watch Being the Elite, you'll understand what we're talking about. He had a really good spot this week, refusing to give the book back, and then Yujiro had another cameo just telling him to give the fucking book back.
I'm going to take a stab and say Hangman Page will be Ring of Honor World Champion within the next 12 months. There's that.
Yeah,
that'll happen.
I could see it. I think he's going to be a big guy in Ring of Honor too, but that's for a different podcast. Yeah. So Togi Makabe versus Jay White. This was a really good match. Again, I didn't feel like the guys were going 100%.
Yeah, I called this match physical. It was a very physical match. It was good.
Yes. Jay White picks up the win with the Blade Runner after, like you said, a very physical match. Yeah. A slightly different way of using shenanigans to win.
Yeah. Right.
So he got multiple chairs out, and then Makabe hit a lariat through the chair, picks it up, but Red Shoes tries to stop him. And then as Red Shoes is throwing out the first chair, he pushes Makabe into Red Shoes to distract him and then hits him with the chair. It was a nice little, it was very old school use of shenanigans.
Right. The way that Jay White's doing it, perfect. The way that Fale and the Firing Squad is doing it, annoying. Like, it's just
right.
It's so similar but so different at the same time. Like, Jay White is just old school with it. I love it.
Jay White has gone very old school with it, whereas the Firing Squad are just like, fuck them. Like, they don't care if they're caught. Right. Because the old school way of being a heel, the old school way is, no, you do it when the ref's not looking.
Like, this is...
Right, and Jay White's actually really good at that.
This is very, like, 80s Ric Flair-esque. Like, just that extra little...
Yeah.
That real dirty... But he won the matches. Like, he cared about the win, but he did at whatever cost. And I love that from Jay White. He just does it so well. Because he's not the most he's not the 100% best guy in the ring. Like, he's very talented, very good in the ring, but he's not the best. So to kind of make up, he needs to add that the switchblade, killer kind of vibe to him. He needs to, So no,
he is a very Flair-esque kind of, like, not in terms of his mannerisms or anything, but in terms of the skill set. I think that's a really apt comparison, is to say he's very Flair-esque in terms of his skill set. He's a good wrestler that's not wow, But then when you throw in his personality and his ability, his mind, you throw in his mind, and then you've got something special.
Yeah.
He's not as charismatic though. He is charismatic, but he's not as charismatic as a wrestler.
Some 90s fans might hate me for saying this, but I think, I feel like I'm pissing off a lot of 90s fans with my comparisons tonight. I think Jay White's a really good Raven. Jay White is a really good Raven. Raven was never perfectly sound in the ring, but God, he had a good character. I think Jay White's very Raven-esque, but a lot better. I hope
he's better in the ring, but I can see that as well. I could actually see Jay White sitting in the corner too. Just then we got Michael Elgin versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Good match. Tanahashi pulls out a victory when it looked like it wasn't going to happen. Like this match actually made Big Mike look like $1 million. Like it really thought Big Mike was going to get the win.
And Tanahashi, he would have done that on purpose because at the end of the match you do get the nice handshake and the sign of respect, because they are, they were tag team partners in the tag league last year. They are best friends.
Yeah, they're friends. They're New Japan guys. They're So,
and it's actually, to be fair, like I don't want to speculate anything, but it's someone like Tana that might actually keep Elgin having a job in Japan. Like, there's obviously a lot of shit surrounding Elgin outside the ring, and I don't want to go into that, but I feel that someone like Tanahashi would be the guy that would actually wave the flag for him, and because Tanahashi is obviously the king of, no matter who you want to put as their champion, Tanahashi is the king of Japan, New Japan, and it's like you do what Tanahashi says or not, or else,
Yeah, well, I just think New Japan don't really care about those things either, like the extra things. Like when you say he might be the one keeping Michael Elgin in a job, I just don't think. I mean, Tama Tonga choked. We should actually talk about that because we skipped over the Bad Luck Fale match because we're just shenanigans. Sure. But after that match, we'll rewind for a second. After the Bad Luck Fale match, Tama Tonga got in the face of a fan and actually choked one of the fans. He was going to hit him with a chair, and he choked a fan, an actual fan that was at the show. And it has since been released on the New Japan website that he's going to face disciplinary action, but it was very vague. They didn't say what disciplinary action. And according to reports from the venue, people who were there are saying that this is a fan who was being very vocal throughout the night, which if you watch Japanese wrestling, they applaud and they cheer, and you get a lot of especially the women yelling out, like the Ibushi, right? Or
Kenny,
Kenny. Yeah, they just yell out the name every now and then, and that's about it. But this guy was apparently, taunting like an American fan, but he was a Japanese bloke, and he had been very vocal, and a few of the wrestlers had kind of, told him to stick it or shut up, or on their way out had sort of given him a bit of a, mate, get over yourself kind of thing, which, it happens with some fans. Some fans try to hijack a show, and it's pretty common in other countries, but it doesn't really happen in Japan that much. And I guess Tama Tonga, he got up him as he left for the tag match earlier in the night, and then the guy was taunting again, and so Tama decided to just go out there and go into business for himself.
Right.
So it wasn't a plant or anything. It was a legitimate, this is a fan that's pissed me off and I'm going to choke him.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like, obviously for booking wise, they won't do anything.
I could...
You go ahead, sir.
I could see him getting fired for this.
Be interesting.
I mean, I don't think he will, but could you blame him if he did?
Not at all. I don't think he gets fired. I don't know if he'll get fired, but I reckon there might be a couple of months suspension for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to see how it plays out because it's going to play into my prediction. But let's move on. Kazuchika Okada versus Evil in the main event. One hell of a match from these two. Definite match of the night for me on this night. I'm a sucker for when they steal each other's finisher.
Right.
And Rock Austin, and it's something that doesn't happen much anymore. But when guys steal each other's finishes, I love that, and they did that in this match. It was just a really good match.
Yeah, well, Evil's been sort of a thorn in the side of Okada. I think Evil picked up a win against Okada last year, if I'm not correct, in the tournament. But yeah, no, it was a fantastic match. Okada's just, again, right. I think we kind of thought that he was going into like a downward spiral in this tournament, but he's come back he's looking good again.
Yeah, well, I adjusted my prediction halfway through because it became very clear that they weren't doing the downward spiral. They did it, but they only did it for the first couple of matches, so I adjusted my story there. But I still don't think that this is his redemption. I don't think he wins. But let's get into the predictions because that closes out night 15.
Sure does. Where is?
So let's take a look at the points.
Yes, let's do that before we move on. Where are we? So
as of today,
let's start with B block.
Yep.
B block. We have Kenny on 12, Naito and Ibushi on 10, Sonata, Zack Sabre on 8, Goto, Ishii, Robinson, Tonga, and Yano follow. Everyone from Sonata down is completely out of the tournament. For B block, Kenny is obviously in the lead. Naito and Koda are tied on 10. However, Koda has the advantage over Naito because he beat him. So if they were both to end up on the same points at the end, which I can't remember how it would have to happen. Naito is out of those three the least likely. Kenny is obviously the favorite, and Koda is potentially the spoiler. So we'll see.
Right. So if Kenny loses to Yano, and then loses to Ibushi, and Ibushi wins, obviously against Kenny, and also wins against Tama, then Ibushi goes straight through because he's on 14. But if he loses against Tama and wins against Kenny, then we've got 12 and 12.
And then
Naito has Sonata and Zack.
And both winnable matches for him.
So he's completely isolated. Both winnable matches. So he could end up on 14. If he loses one of them, he could end up on 12. It's conceivable that we get a three-way tie, but essentially these three are the only guys alive. No one else can
Nato's lost to both Kenny and Koda.
How do you think it plays out?
I think Kenny wins it. I can see, I don't know, because being the elite kind of maybe gave a little hint towards it today with Page with the book when he said, "Oh, man, you don't need this. You got Yano next. You know, that's just a comedy match. It's fine." Does Naito distract Kenny? Maybe get him counted out or something like. I'm not saying that Yano's going to pin him with a special move and get out of the one-winged angel or anything, but there's a chance that Yano is the king of silliness. A count-out victory for Yano is not out of this realm. So maybe, I don't know, does Jay White get involved and tie up Kenny to a post or something? Or does more likely would be Naito to try and distract Kenny? Or does Tama cost him? Does Tama cost Kenny something? I don't know. There's that...
Tama is just as likely as anything else. I'm going to need you to nail something down. Who do you think wins
Kenny
B-Block?
Omega.
You got to call it now.
Yep. Okay.
Kenny? Yep. All right, cool. And how? So he just wins straight through the next two? He beats Ibushi, beats Yano?
Beats Yano. Kota and Nato both win their next match. And I think Kenny actually loses to Kota, but he'll still go through on points.
If he beats Yano, he's got 4. Yeah, so Ibushi would have to lose then to...
Sorry, no.
Ibushi would have to lose to Tama in order to tie on points.
Yeah.
So that Kenny can go through.
But
okay. I can see Ibushi losing to Tama. Yeah. Okay, so I have it as Ibushi now. I've switched.
My ideal is
Kenny.
Kota. But for booking wise, I think now I can see Kenny win it. But I would prefer Kota to win this. But
so I think Kenny beats Yano, and I think Ibushi beats Tama by DQ. Then I think that Ibushi beats Kenny. So it's an actual, like, he defeats Kenny and gets through on points that way. And Block A, let's go through the points on Block A.
Just edit this really quickly. Are we doing this instead of predictions for the 3 nights, or do you want to do predictions? Okay.
We'll do the matches.
So now we go A block. So the table, I'm going to read it in reverse this time, just so I can, when I say their name, I'll say eliminated. I won't care about their points. Yoshihashi, eliminated. Toki Makabe, eliminated. Hangman Page, Fale, and Elgin, eliminated. Evil and Suzuki, eliminated, which leaves Switchblade, Jay White, Kazuchika Okada, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. I see this playing out as Tanahashi winning. It's going to come down to Okada and Tanahashi. Back to the rivalry that brought New Japan back out to the world. And I think Tanahashi wins it, and I think we get Tanahashi Kenny for the first time ever. 1-on-1.
Okay, so I have this as... You'll remember that I had Kenny and Tanahashi originally. Going into the tournament, I had Kenny and Tanahashi. And so part of me still wants Kenny to win B block and Tanahashi to win A block, exactly as you've said. The other part of me, as I said, I've switched the story around in my head, and now I've got Kota Ibushi going through, and I've got Jay White going through after a 3-way tie. So Okada beats Tanahashi, and Jay White wins his last match against Evil, leaving all 4 men at 14 points, making those first 2 nights when Jay got those big upset victories against Tanahashi and Okada, those first 2 nights are the big decision makers that send Jay White through to the final.
Well, yeah, that's very possible.
So it's a 3-way tie, and that's the story, is that because he came out so strong to begin with, that's what got him through. And then I think that, are you ready? This is the big one. I think Jay White wins. I think the firing squad are with Jay White.
Ooh. Yeah.
And all of the chaos that they've been causing has just been to completely delegitimize or just completely... I mean, the phrase says it. It says fuck them, right? Their whole thing is just to fuck with everyone. That's all they're doing. They're just fucking with everyone. And Jay White's going to win because they're going to get involved. And what they really want to fuck is the Golden Lovers. They don't want them to have their main event. They don't want them to have their story. So they're going to get involved in everything possible to ruin that story, to ruin the G1, to ruin the Golden Lovers' golden moment.
Well, yeah, very likely. Yeah, look. Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, that's how I think it plays out. But, I mean, that's me fantasy booking. But then, of course, on the other side, I think Tanahashi and Kenny Omega is a big, big match that has been protected, and it would make a really good final. So I'm happy either way.
Your prediction could fall a little bit if the news of Tama Tonga is bigger than it sounds. The repercussions, they're not gonna be stupid and go suspend him for the last couple of days of the G1 just because it just ruined some of the booking and. But I could see after the G1, maybe like a month or two out, maybe Miss Destruction in September, something like that. So you'll see them doing something like that with that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
So in terms of predicting, I mean, we've already laid out how we think the blocks are going to come out. So maybe we don't need to predict it every match, but there are a couple of there's at least one other match that I think is major that we haven't really talked about, and that's Naito versus Sonata. I think Sonata's going to beat Naito.
Yeah, very likely.
We've had all the stuff with them not fist bumping, right? Sonata not being willing to do the fist bump, and yeah, I think Sonata's been amping himself up in his own head, and I think he's had this breakout performance, and I think he's gonna defeat Naito in their last match.
It's going to be very interesting.
I think we've laid out our block predictions, so I guess the only other thing worth mentioning this week in the news is the update on Hiromu Takahashi's health. Turns out he's had surgery, he's recovering, and it looks like 6 to 9 months, but they're allowing 12 months for his recovery, which, given his in-ring style, take all the time you need, man.
Which I want to know
the
what
neck
they're
nice
going
and
to do
strong.
with the junior title. So obviously they need to sort that out quick.
I told you, man, he should just give it to Bushi.
It would be a good thing, but
can you do that? Can you have someone defend it in your name?
I don't know. Never seen that before, but
I think that'd be a cool story. He especially it fits the LIJ aesthetic, how they're this band of misfits that do things their own way. I think it'd be really cool if he like records a video from his hospital bed or whatever, and he's like, I'm tasking Bushi with defending the title in my name, and Bushi can keep the title till he comes back.
Yeah,
and then
bad
Bushi
idea.
can be like, well, it's my title now.
Yeah, not a bad idea, but I don't know. Like, I haven't seen they're doing the Super J Cup this year. I know they're doing the British J Cup in Rev Pro, which
Rev Pro have one on, yeah.
Yeah, but New Japan didn't do the Super J Cup last year, but Rev Pro did the Super J Cup. So I don't know if New Japan have kind of given the Super J Cup to Rev Pro as a kind of a mix with them, because guys like Tiger Mask and Liga and all that are in the Super J Cup. Sorry, the Rev Pro one. I would like to see. I mean, that's obviously for the British Cruiserweight Champion there, but for a shot at the title. Sorry. I don't know. Like I feel like they need to do a tournament or something. I don't want to just see like a random one-on-one, because there's no one that kind of deserves it at the moment. Like,
no, I think it would be a tournament of some kind.
But, which would be
nice.
nice.
Good to see Marty get a run with it.
Yeah. I don't want to just see, like, as much as I love Will, I don't want to see just putting them back on Will, because I think Will's got a better story to tell over the next 12 months.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
The only other thing I just want to sort of bring up, G1, the other thing I want to bring up, the Saturday night card, for anyone listening, please don't treat it as a don't watch the undercard, watch the main G1 matches only, because Saturday night is the return of some fantastic names. So you got the return of both Matt, Nick Jackson and Marty Skrull. They return to New Japan action on Saturday night in a 6-man match against Jay White and Sho and Yo. So they'll be very entertaining. You got the return of Tomoaki Honma on Saturday night in a 6-man match. He's teaming with his good old Great Bash Hill teammate in Togi Makabe and Tanahashi, and they're facing...
Right, so Honma Mania is going to run wild?
It sure is. It's crazy to see Great Bash Hill tagging with Tanahashi. If you asked that 10 years ago, I'd be like, you're crazy. But they're facing off against Okada, Yoshihashi, and Gato, who replaces Jado, who's injured. So some familiar names returning to the New Japan card on Saturday night, which obviously includes the very potential. We may have to change our website name to A+, between Kenny and Coda.
Yeah.
So don't treat Saturday night's card as like the rest of G1, where you don't really need to watch the undercard. You can if you enjoy it. But Saturday night is going to be a good undercard. Like it's a proper undercard.
This next week, the final week, they step it up, and Saturday and Sunday, especially in the Budokan, they're big shows.
Yeah,
it's the finals. So on the Sunday show, we're getting a Rey Mysterio match as well, which I think is 1-on-1. So it's not announced who his opponent is, but that's the only other match announced. Right. So it's kind of hard to preview anything.
And I note back on the Budokan shows, this is the first time that Kodar is back in Budokan in, I think it's 7 years, as he was banned for, I think it was 7 years. Please, if anyone's listening to this, quote me back to the right amount.
Kevin Kelly will tell us.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly, give us a shout out.
7 years for that, and I think 8 years since he's faced Kenny 1-on-1.
Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know, Kodar did a Budokan very against doing too many high spots off within the crowd and being too dangerous, and Kodar moonsaulted off a ledge, and despite the warning, and so Budokan was not too happy with Kodar and gave him a couple of years ban, which I don't know if that plays into his whole freelancer thing, but yeah, it's be good to see Kodar back at Budokan, and 8 years since Kenny and Kodar. Is this the first Kenny Kodar 1-on-1 in a New Japan ring? I know they're facing DDT.
Yes. Yeah. So the last time they faced off was in DDT. So it's going to be it's going to be intense. It's going to be a really good match. Yeah. I can't wait to see it. And it's been since the beginning. It's been my pick for what will be match of the G1, but there's been some stiff competition for it. So I guess we'll find out. I think Naito versus Sanada may actually really surprise me too. So so I'm really excited about it, and hopefully we'll try to get finals cast out as soon as we can after it comes. We might not wait until the Wednesday show to put it out there. We might do King of Sports a little early. No promises. It's going to depend on everyone's schedule, of course. But I think if that's everything, Mikey, that does it for me. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No. I guess the only thing is just for any historians or trivia fans that do listen to us. Yesterday was the actual 28-year anniversary of the first ever day of G1 action. So, which is crazy because if you look at that first card, it has someone like the name of Stone Cold Steve Austin as Steve Austin on that card, and you got the likes of Bam Bam Bigelow and that, and so it's been 28 years as of yesterday that the G1 actually kicked off. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a long time. But that does it for us here at the B Plus Podcast. Why don't we let people know where they can find you, Mikey?
At BigBoy _Mikey on Twitter, or you'll find me posting away at the B Plus Wrestle, because they don't let wrestling fit.
Right, and of course people can always find you and your articles at thebplus.com, where you're doing a fantastic series this week just to take things away from Japan. Obviously, you do have your articles that you write about the G1 and about Japan, but you're also doing a fantastic series of articles at the moment, hyping up the PWA Call to Arms show.
Yeah, which I'm very excited for. Also, please stay tuned, everyone, for tomorrow as I release my fourth interview series, which was with the guys, Aiden from Iron Fist Pro. So, which, if you're a King of Sportscast listener and love the Japanese style, you'll love Iron Fist Pro. So, which I'm very jealous that you, Greg, are in Adelaide in the same city as said show.
Yes, indeed, I will be there.
You should
pick up an Iron Fist shirt.
Yeah, should be definitely
sit front row, do all the fun stuff.
Yeah, be awesome. So, so that comes out tomorrow. And
that's Big Boy Mikey's Big 10 featuring Iron Fist Pro. All right, and I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram, at the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit, at the B Plus Wrestling on Facebook. We also have so the B Plus Wrestling on Facebook is kind of where we share all of our bplus.com content and any news stories that are confirmed. We also have the B Plus SWO, Smarks World Order. And that's where we just have a bunch of guys on there as admins that just go crazy with all the memes, all the sharing, all the speculation, a lot of stuff that's just kind of off the wall and crazy fun stuff, lots of remembering back and what have you. So if you want some fun wrestling-related discussion and memery, then the B+ SWO is the page to look at. We are available on iTunes, so make sure you seek us out. Give us that 5-star review that helps the visibility. We're also now available on Podbean. I'm working on getting our premium stuff up. More news to come on that later. But for now, like, share, subscribe, and thanks for listening.
Ciao for now.
Hold one. Arm drag.
You're not doing this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
So, no speak English.
Yummy. Yeah.
Goodbye and good night.
Hold two. Arm bar.
This is the worst town I've ever been in. It's still real to me, damn it!
Yummy. Yeah.
Hold three. The moss covered. Three-handle